Football isn't just a game of brute force and athleticism, it's a complex chess match where each piece serves a specific purpose. From the quarterback who orchestrates the offense to the safety patrolling the deep field, every position requires unique skills and responsibilities. Today, we're breaking down all the positions on the field, plus the specialists who can change the game with a single kick. This is every NFL position explained. Offense. Quarterback, QB. Let's start with the most important position in sports, the quarterback. The QB is the field general, the decision maker, and often the face of the franchise. The quarterback's primary job is delivering the football accurately to receivers, but that barely scratches the surface of what makes the position so demanding. Pre-snap, there's reading defenses, identifying blitzers, and changing plays at the line. Post-snap, there's processing information in milliseconds, finding open receivers while 300-pound linemen try to crush them. The modern NFL quarterback needs to be more than just a strong arm. Patrick Mahomes can throw 60 yards on the run, but his real superpower is his processing speed and creativity. Josh Allen combines a cannon arm with bulldozer running ability. Lamar Jackson's elusiveness makes him a dual-threat nightmare. The position has evolved dramatically. In the 70s, Terry Bradshaw might throw 25 times a game. Today, Joe Burrow might throw 40-plus times. The rules protect quarterbacks more than ever because teams know the truth. Without a quality QB, you're probably not winning a Super Bowl. When a quarterback fails, everyone notices. When they succeed, they get too much credit. But one thing's certain, no position impacts winning and losing more than the player under center. Running back, RB. The running back is football's battering ram. The player who takes the handoff and charges into the teeth of the defense. But the modern running back is so much more than just a ball carrier. Today's elite backs like Christian McCaffrey are three-down weapons who can run between the tackles, catch passes out of the backfield, and pick up blitzing linebackers in pass protection. The position demands vision to spot holes, patience to let blocks develop, and explosiveness to hit those holes before they close. Running backs come in different packages. Power backs like Derrick Henry use size and strength to run through tackles. Shifty backs like Alvin Kamara use agility to make defenders miss in space. Receiving backs like Austin Eckler are practically slot receivers who happen to line up in the backfield. The position has been devalued in recent years as teams pass more and running backs have shorter careers due to physical punishment they take. But when you watch Jonathan Taylor break off a 60-yard touchdown, or Nick Chubb bulldoze 3 defenders at the goal line, you're reminded why this position still matters. The best running backs don't just gain yards, they control the clock, wear down defenses, and make life easier for their quarterback. In a league obsessed with passing, a dominant running game can still be the difference between winning and losing. Fullback, FB. The fullback is football's blue-collar position, a hybrid blocker and runner who does the dirty work so others can shine. Fullbacks are built like bowling balls, low center of gravity, powerful legs, and the mentality of a battering ram. In today's pass-happy NFL, the traditional fullback is an endangered species. Many teams don't even carry one on their roster, but those who do, like the 49ers with Kyle Juszczyk, have discovered that a versatile fullback can create mismatches and unpredictability. The fullback's primary job is lead blocking, clearing holes for the running back by taking on linebackers. It's a thankless task that requires perfect timing, technique, and a willingness to sacrifice your body. When you see a running back break a long run, look for the fullback who probably erased a defender to make it happen. Modern fullbacks also catch passes in the flat, occasionally carry the ball in short yardage situations, and contribute on special teams. They're football's ultimate utility players, not flashy, but essential to teams that still value power running games. The position may be fading, but as long as football remains a physical game, there will always be a place for players willing to do the unglamorous work that fullbacks embrace. Wide receiver, WR. Wide receivers are football's home run hitters, the players who can change the game with a single explosive play. Receivers combine speed, route running precision, and hands soft enough to pluck bullets out of the air while defenders try to separate them from both the ball and consciousness. The position has evolved dramatically. In the 70s, receivers were primarily deep threats who might catch 3 to 4 passes a game. Today's receivers are targeted 10+ times and used in countless ways: screens, slants, crossing routes, and the traditional deep ball. Modern receivers come in different packages. There are speed demons like Tyreek Hill, who can outrun anyone on the field. Possession receivers like DeAndre Hopkins use body control and strong hands to win contested catches. Route technicians like Devontae Adams create separation with precise footwork and timing. What makes an elite receiver? Start with hands, the ability to catch anything in their zip code. Add body control, contorting in midair to make impossible catches. Mix in route running, the subtle art of creating separation. And don't forget toughness, the willingness to catch passes over the middle knowing a safety is closing in. The best receivers don't just accumulate stats, they command double teams that create opportunities for teammates. They turn 5-yard slants into 50-yard touchdowns. and in crucial moments, they give their quarterback a target they can trust when nothing else is working. Tight end, TE. The tight end is football's ultimate hybrid, part offensive lineman, part wide receiver. They line up attached to the tackle or split out wide, creating mismatches wherever they go. The position has transformed over the past decade. Traditional blocking tight ends still exist, but the modern prototype is Travis Kelce, a receiver in a lineman's body who's too big for defensive backs and too fast for linebackers. These matchup nightmares have become primary targets in many offenses. Tight ends must master two completely different skill sets. As blockers, they take on defensive ends who outweigh them, and linebackers who can match their athleticism. As receivers, they run precise routes, find soft spots in zones, and make contested catches in traffic. What makes an elite tight end? Start with size. Most are 6'4" or taller, and 250 plus pounds. Add athleticism, the ability to run, jump, and change direction like someone 50 pounds lighter. Mix in hands, the ability to catch passes while defenders hang on them. And don't forget toughness, the willingness to block edge rushers one play and catch passes over the middle the next. The best tight ends don't just put up receiving numbers, they transform an offense by creating mismatches, excelling in the red zone, and providing their quarterback a security blanket when nothing else is open. Offensive tackle, OT. Offensive tackles are the bodyguards of the NFL, massive humans whose primary job is to keep their quarterback upright. Tackles are the bookends of the offensive line, with the left tackle typically protecting the quarterback's blind side. The modern NFL tackle is a physical freak, standing 6'5" or taller, weighing 310 pounds, yet agile enough to mirror lightning-quick edge rushers. They need the wingspan of a condor, the footwork of a dancer, and the mean streak of a junkyard dog. The position demands technical mastery. Tackles must perfect their kick slide, the movement that allows them to drop back in pass protection while maintaining coverage. They need hand placement, timing, and the ability to recover when beaten initially. What makes an elite tackle? Start with athleticism, the ability to move their massive frames with surprising quickness. Add technique, hand usage, and footwork refined through thousands of repetitions. Mix in intelligence, recognizing stunts, blitzes, and defensive tendencies. And don't forget toughness, playing through pain and maintaining focus for 60+ snaps. The best tackles don't just prevent sacks, they create confidence. When a quarterback knows his blind side is protected by someone like Trent Williams or Tyron Smith, he can focus downfield instead of worrying about the hit he doesn't see coming. Offensive guard, OG. If tackles are the bodyguards of the offensive line, guards are the bouncers, slightly shorter but often stronger, specializing in interior combat. Guards line up between the center and tackles, where they wage war in football's most violent real estate. Guards need a unique blend of power and mobility. In the run game, they're pulling around the edge, climbing to the second level to block linebackers, or double-teaming defensive tackles. In pass protection, they're handling bull rushes from 330-pound defensive tackles or blitzing linebackers shooting gaps. The position demands technical proficiency and raw power. Guards must master hand placement, leverage, and the ability to anchor against stronger defenders. They need the mobility to pull on sweep plays and the awareness to pick up stunts and blitzes. And what makes an elite guard? Start with power, the ability to move defenders against their will, and mobility, pulling, trapping, and reaching the second level. Mix in technique, hand usage, and footwork that maximizes their physical tools. And don't forget nastiness, the desire to dominate opponents physically and mentally. The best guards don't just execute their assignments, they set the tone for the entire offense. When Quentin Nelson or Zach Martin is driving defenders 5 yards downhill, it sends a message that resonates throughout the team. Center, C. The center is football's field general on the offensive line, the player who touches the ball on every play and coordinates the entire blocking scheme. Centers are the axis around which the offense rotates. What separates centers from other linemen is their responsibility. Before the snap, they're identifying defensive fronts, calling out blocking assignments, and communicating with the quarterback. After the snap, they're executing blocks while often dealing with a nose tackle lined up inches from their face. The position demands intelligence and technique. Centers must master the shotgun snap, delivering the ball accurately to the quarterback while prepping the block. They need to understand defensive alignments, recognize blitzes, and adjust protection schemes accordingly. What makes an elite center? Start with intelligence, the ability to diagnose defenses and communicate adjustments. Add technique, precise snapping and blocking fundamentals. Mix in strength, anchoring against powerful nose tackles. Don't forget leadership, commanding respect from teammates and setting the tone for the entire line. The best centers don't just execute their assignments, they elevate the entire offensive line. When Jason Kelce or Creed Humphrey makes a pre-snap adjustment that picks up a blitz, they're saving their quarterback from a potential disaster. Defensive end, DE. Defensive ends are the edge predators of the NFL, explosive athletes whose primary job is disrupting the quarterback. DEs line up on the outside of the defensive line, where their combination of speed and power creates nightmares for offensive tackles. The position has evolved with modern offenses. Traditional power ends like Reggie White have given way to more versatile athletes like Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa, who can rush the passer, set the edge against the run, and occasionally drop into coverage. Defensive ends need a diverse skill set. They must master pass rush moves, the bull rush, swim move, spin move, and speed rush. They need the strength to set the edge against the run and the discipline to maintain gap integrity. What makes an elite defensive end? Start with explosiveness, the first step quickness that gives tackles nightmares. Add technique, hand usage, and leverage that maximizes their physical gifts. Mix in motor, the relentless pursuit that turns pressures into sacks. And don't forget instincts, the ability to read plays and react accordingly. The best defensive ends don't just accumulate sacks, they change how offenses operate. When Aiden Hutchinson or Max Crosby is dominating, teams must keep tight ends in a block, use chip blocks from running backs, or get rid of the ball quickly, all of which limits what they can do offensively. Defensive tackle, DT. Defensive tackles are the wrecking balls of the NFL. Massive, powerful athletes who create havoc in the interior of the defensive line. DTs line up between the offensive guards, where they battle double teams and create interior pressure. The position demands rare physical traits. Elite DTs combine size, 300 plus pounds, strength, bench pressing 225 30 plus times, and surprising quickness for men their size. They need powerful hands to shed blocks, a low center of gravity to maintain leverage, and the endurance to battle double teams for 4 quarters. Modern defensive tackles come in different forms. There are run stuffers like Vita Vea, who anchor the middle and make life miserable for running backs. There are pass rushing specialists like Chris Jones who collapse the pocket from the inside. And there are rare 3-down tackles like Aaron Donald who excel against both run and pass. What makes an elite defensive tackle? Start with power, the ability to hold ground against double teams. Add quickness, the burst to shoot gaps and disrupt plays in the backfield. Mix in technique, hand usage, and leverage that maximizes their physical tools. And don't forget motor, the relentless effort required to impact games from the interior. The best defensive tackles don't just make plays themselves, they make everyone around them better. When Aaron Donald is commanding double and triple teams, it creates one-on-one matchups for edge rushers. When a DT consistently collapses the pocket, quarterbacks can't set up to avoid outside pressure. Nose tackle, NT. The nose tackle is defensive football's immovable object, a massive human whose primary job is anchoring the middle of the line. NTs typically line up directly over the center in 3 to 4 defenses, where they control the A-gaps on both sides of the center. What separates nose tackles from other defensive linemen is their size and responsibility. Elite NTs like Vita Vea stand 6'4" and weigh 340 plus pounds. Their job isn't necessarily to make plays themselves, but to occupy multiple blockers, allowing linebackers to flow freely to the ball. The position demands incredible strength and technique. Nose tackles must master the 2-gap technique, controlling the blocker in front of them while being responsible for gaps on either side. They need powerful hands to shed blocks, a low center of gravity to maintain leverage, and the selflessness to do the dirty work while others get the glory. What makes an elite nose tackle? Start with size, the sheer mass to anchor against double teams. Add strength, the power to control offensive linemen. Mix in technique, hand usage, and leverage that maximizes their physical tools. And don't forget endurance, the ability to battle double teams for 40 plus snaps. The best nose tackles don't fill up the stat sheet, they fill up space. When a 340-pound NT is commanding double teams on every play, it means a linebacker is running free to make tackles. It's a thankless job, but one that forms the foundation of many great defenses. Linebacker, LB. Linebackers are football's Swiss Army knives, versatile athletes who must excel against the run, in pass coverage, and as blitzers. LBs line up behind the defensive line where they serve as the defense's primary playmakers. The position demands rare athletic versatility. Modern linebackers need the strength to take on offensive linemen, the speed to cover running backs and tight ends, and the football IQ to diagnose plays instantly. They're the defense's quarterbacks, often wearing the green dot helmet that allows communication with coaches. Linebackers come in different packages. Inside linebackers like Fred Warner are tackling machines who control the middle of the field. Outside linebackers in 3-4 defenses, like TJ Watt, are primarily pass rushers who also drop into coverage. Will linebackers, weak side, like Darius Leonard, use their speed to pursue plays from the backside. What makes an elite linebacker? Start with instincts, the ability to diagnose plays and react instantly. Add tackling, the fundamental skill of bringing down ball carriers in space. Mix in coverage skills, matching up with tight ends and running backs, and don't forget communication, setting the defense and ensuring everyone is aligned properly. The best linebackers don't just accumulate tackles, they change games with timely plays. When Bobby Wagner shoots a gap to stop a 4th and 1 or Fred Warner drops into coverage to intercept a pass, they're demonstrating the versatility that makes this position so valuable. Cornerback CB. Cornerbacks are football's island defenders, the players tasked with covering the fastest athletes on the field with little margin of error. CBs line up on the outside against wide receivers, where every mistake can result in 6 points for the offense. The position demands elite athleticism and mental toughness. Cornerbacks need the speed to match receivers stride for stride, the agility to change direction instantly, and the ball skills to make plays when targeted. But perhaps most importantly, they need short memories, the ability to shake off getting beaten and line up with confidence on the next play. Modern cornerbacks play in different styles. There are press man corners like Jalen Ramsey, who physically challenge receivers at the line of scrimmage. Zone corners like Trayvon Biggs excel at reading quarterbacks and jumping routes. Slot corners like Kenny Moore specialize in covering shifty receivers in the middle of the field. What makes an elite quarterback? Start with athleticism, the speed and agility to mirror receivers. Add technique, footwork, and hand usage that maximizes their physical tools. Mix in ball skills, the ability to locate and play the ball in the air. And don't forget confidence, the unwavering belief that they'll win the next rep, regardless of what happened on the last one. The best cornerbacks don't just prevent completions, they change how offenses operate. When Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain II is shutting down one side of the field, quarterbacks must look elsewhere, making the defense's job easier across the board. Safety, S. Safeties are football's last line of defense, versatile athletes who must prevent big plays while still contributing against the run. Safeties line up deep in the secondary, where they have the best view of the entire offense. The position has evolved dramatically with modern offenses. Traditional free safeties patrolled the deep middle, while strong safeties played closer to the line of scrimmage. Today's safeties need to be interchangeable, capable of covering tight ends, tackling running backs, blitzing quarterbacks, and preventing deep passes. Elite safeties combine physical skill with mental processing. They need the range to cover sideline to sideline, the tackling ability to bring down bigger players in space, and the football IQ to diagnose plays pre-snap and react accordingly. What makes an elite safety? Start with instincts, the ability to read quarterbacks and anticipate throws. Add range, the speed to cover large areas of the field. Mix in tackling, the fundamental skill of bringing down ball carriers in the open field. And don't forget communication, ensuring the entire secondary is on the same page. The best safeties don't just prevent big plays, they create turnovers and deliver tone-setting hits. When Minkah Fitzpatrick jumps a route for an interception or Derwin James delivers a crushing tackle, it changes the momentum of the game and puts fear into opposing offenses. As offenses have evolved to feature 3 and 4 receiver sets, defenses have adapted by creating specialized positions. The nickel or slot cornerback is a hybrid defender who specializes in covering receivers in the middle of the field. Slot corners replace a linebacker in passing situations, giving defenses more speed and coverage ability. What separates slot corners from outside cornerbacks is their responsibility. They must cover shifty receivers in the middle of the field where there's traffic and less sideline help. They're also more involved in run defense and blitz packages than outside corners. The position demands unique skills. Slot corners need exceptional short area quickness to match receivers' cuts, the physicality to fight through traffic, and the tackling ability to contribute against the run. They're essentially playing a different position than outside corners, despite the same job title. What makes an elite slot corner? Start with quickness, the ability to change direction instantly in tight spaces. Add physicality, the willingness to battle through picks and rubs. Mix in tackling, the ability to bring down bigger players in space. And don't forget versatility, the skills to cover, blitz, and defend the run effectively. The best slot corners don't just prevent completions, they take away an entire area of the field. When Kenny Moore or Taron Johnson lock down the slot, quarterbacks lose one of their most reliable options on crucial downs. Specialists. Kicker. K. Kickers are football's precision specialists, the players who can determine the outcome of games with a single swing of their leg. Kickers often stand on the sidelines for most of the game before being called upon in the most pressure-packed moments. The position demands technical precision and mental toughness. Kickers must master the mechanics of their craft, consistent steps, proper foot planting placement, clean ball striking, and follow-through. But perhaps more importantly, they need the mental fortitude to perform under extreme pressure when the game is on the line. Modern kickers are more accurate and powerful than ever. Justin Tucker has made 89.1% of his field goals over his career, including a record 66-yarder. Harrison Butker has been clutch in multiple Super Bowl runs. These specialists have turned what was once considered a coin flip from beyond 50 yards into an expected 3 points. What makes an elite kicker? Start with technique, the consistent mechanics that produce accurate kicks. Add leg strength, the power to convert from 50-plus yards. Mix in mental toughness, the ability to perform under pressure. And don't forget adaptability, adjusting to different weather conditions and stadiums. The best kickers don't just make kicks, they change how teams approach end-of-game situations. When a coach knows his kicker can reliably convert from 55 yards, it changes the entire strategic approach to the final minutes of close games. Punter. P. Punters are football's field position specialists, the players who can flip field position with a single kick. Punters are often overlooked until a crucial fourth-quarter punt pins an opponent at their own 1-yard line. The position demands technical skill and situational awareness. Punters must master different types of kicks: the booming punt for maximum distance, the directional punt to avoid dangerous returners, and the pooch punt to pin opponents deep in their territory. They need consistent mechanics, the ability to handle bad snaps, and the awareness to recognize fake opportunities. Modern punters are more versatile than ever. They're no longer just distance specialists. They're precision weapons who can place the ball exactly where they want it. Some, like Tommy Townsend, can even throw passes on fake punts, adding another dimension to special teams. What makes an elite punter? Start with leg strength, the power to flip field position with a single kick. Add technique, the ability to control distance, hang time, and direction. Mix in consistency, performing at a high level regardless of conditions. And don't forget athleticism, the ability to handle bad snaps and occasionally execute fakes. The best punters don't just boot the ball, they change field position in ways that impact the entire game. When a punter consistently pins opponents inside their own 10-yard line, it creates scoring opportunities for the defense and takes pressure off the offense. Long snapper, LS. Perhaps the most specialized position in all of sports, the long snapper has one primary job: delivering the ball accurately to the holder or punter. Long snappers are virtually invisible until something goes wrong. The position demands incredible precision. Long snappers must deliver spirals at high velocity over distances of 7 to 8 yards for field goals or 15 yards for punts, all while preparing to block immediately after the snap. The margin for error is measured in inches, and the consequences of a mistake can be game-changing. What makes an elite long snapper? Start with accuracy, the ability to hit the same spot consistently. Add velocity, getting the ball back quickly enough to prevent blocked kicks. Mix in blocking, holding up against rushers after the snap. And don't forget durability, maintaining precision over hundreds of snaps. The best long snappers are the ones you never notice. When Morgan Cox or Luke Rhodes goes an entire season without a bad snap, they've done their job perfectly, even if most fans couldn't pick them out of a lineup. Hybrid positions. As the NFL evolves, so do the positions. Several hybrid roles have emerged that don't fit neatly into traditional categories. Edge rusher. The edge rusher is a hybrid between defensive end and an outside linebacker, a pass rush specialist who may play with his hand in the dirt or standing up. Players like Micah Parsons and Khalil Mack defy traditional position labels, lining up all over the formation to create matchup problems. These players combine the size and power of defensive ends with the speed and coverage ability of linebackers. They can rush from multiple angles, drop into coverage when needed, and create confusion for offensive coordinators trying to account for them. Joker tight end. The Joker tight end is a hybrid between tight end and wide receiver, an oversized pass catcher who rarely blocks in line. Players like Kyle Pitts are essentially big receivers who create mismatches for their combination of size and speed. These players line up all over the formation, attached to the line, in the slot, or split wide. They're too big for cornerbacks to cover effectively, but too fast for linebackers to handle in space. Offensive weapon. Some players transcend traditional positions entirely. Deebo Samuel might line up at wide receiver, take handoffs as a running back, or even throw passes occasionally. Taysom Hill has played quarterback, running back, tight end, and special teams. These offensive weapons give coordinators endless creative possibilities. The key to these hybrid players is versatility. They force defenses to declare their intentions pre-snap and create mismatches based on how the defense aligns. Rover and star defender. Some defenses employ a hybrid safety linebacker known as a rover or star defender. These players are too small to be traditional linebackers, but too big to be safeties. They excel in coverage against tight ends and running backs while still being able to contribute against the run. Players like Isaiah Simmons and Derwin James often fill this role, using their unique skill sets to create matchup problems for offenses. The evolution of positions. Football positions haven't maintained static since the game's inception. What started as simple roles has developed into highly specialized jobs requiring specific body types, skill sets, and mental processing abilities. In the 1920s, players often played both offense and defense, switching sides of the ball between possessions. The modern era of specialization began in the 1940s and 1950s, with teams started using different players for offense and defense. By the 1970s, positions had become even more specialized, with the emergence of designated pass rushers, coverage specialists, and situational players. Today's NFL features more specialization than ever before. Teams carry specific players for third down passing situations, short yardage runs, and special teams coverage. The salary cap has forced teams to find players who can fill multiple roles, leading to the hybrid positions we see emerging. The physical evolution has been dramatic too. In 1970, the average NFL player was 6'1" and weighed 200 pounds. Today's average player is 6'2" and weighs 245 pounds. It's not just about size. Players are faster, stronger, and more athletic than ever before. Quarterbacks in the 70s were primarily pocket passers who handed off to running backs 30-plus times per game. Today's quarterbacks are expected to be dual threats who can beat you with their arm or their legs while throwing 40-plus times per game. Receivers have evolved from primarily deep threats to versatile weapons who line up all over the formation. The slot receiver position barely existed 20 years ago. Now it's one of the most important roles in modern offenses. Defensive players have had to adapt to rule changes that favor offense. Cornerbacks can no longer maul receivers downfield. Safeties must cover more ground as offenses spread the field. Linebackers need to be able to cover running backs and tight ends in space. The mental game. While physical attributes get most of the attention, the mental side of football has become increasingly important. Modern players must process information faster than ever before. Quarterbacks read defenses pre-snap, identify blitzers, and make split-second decisions post-snap. They're essentially playing chess at 100 miles per hour while 300-pound athletes try to crush them. Linebackers serve as the defense's quarterbacks, communicating adjustments and ensuring everyone is aligned properly. They must diagnose plays instantly and react accordingly. Centers coordinate the entire offensive line, making protection calls and identifying defensive fronts. Their pre-snap communication can be the difference between a clean pocket and a sack. Even positions that seem purely physical require significant mental processing. Cornerbacks must study film to understand receivers' tendencies. Defensive ends must recognize run-pass keys to know whether to rush the quarterback or set the edge. The smartest players often have the longest careers because they can compensate for declining physical skills with superior preparation and game knowledge. Positional value in the modern NFL. Not all positions are created equal in terms of impact and salary. The quarterback position commands the highest salary because it has the greatest impact on winning and losing. Elite quarterbacks can elevate average players around them, while poor quarterback play can doom even talented teams. Pass rushers are the second most valuable position because they can single-handedly disrupt an offense. A dominant edge rusher forces teams to keep extra blockers in, limiting what they can do offensively. Left tackles protect the quarterback's blind side and command high salaries accordingly. The difference between an elite left tackle and an average one can be measured in sacks allowed and quarterback confidence. Cornerbacks who can cover elite receivers one-on-one are extremely valuable because they allow defenses to allocate help elsewhere. Shutdown corners effectively remove half the field from the opposing offense. Conversely, some positions have been devalued in the modern NFL. Running backs, despite their importance to team success, have shorter careers and lower salaries due to the physical punishment they absorb and the league's shift toward passing. Fullbacks have nearly disappeared from many rosters as teams prioritize speed and passing ability over traditional power running games. Even kickers, despite their ability to decide games, are often among the lowest paid players on the roster because teams believe the position is easily replaceable. The team concept. Despite all this talk of individual positions, football remains the ultimate team sport. No position can succeed in isolation. They're all interconnected pieces of a larger machine. The quarterback's precision is meaningless without the tackle's protection. The cornerback's coverage is wasted without the defensive end's pressure. The kicker's accuracy only matters because the long snapper delivers a perfect spiral. Great teams understand these connections and build accordingly. They don't just collect talented individuals, they find players whose skills complement each other. The 2007 Patriots had an explosive offense because their receiver skills perfectly matched Tom Brady's strengths. The 2013 Seahawks had a dominant defense because their secondary's coverage allowed for their pass rush to get home. Championship teams also understand that role players are just as important as stars. The third-string linebacker who excels on special teams, the backup safety who comes in on passing downs, the reserve lineman who can play multiple positions, these players often determine the difference between winning and losing. The future of positions. As the NFL continues to evolve, so will its positions. Several trends are already emerging that will shape the future of football. Offenses are becoming more multiple, using formations and personal groupings that create mismatches. This trend will likely continue, forcing defenses to become even more versatile. The emphasis on player safety will continue to influence how positions are played. Rules protecting defenseless receivers and quarterbacks have already changed how defenders approach tackling. Analytics are providing new insights into positional value and effectiveness. Teams are using data to identify undervalued positions and skills, leading to new ways of building rosters. The salary cap will continue to force teams to find versatile players who can fill multiple roles. The days of carrying highly specialized players for specific situations may be numbered for all but the wealthiest franchises. International expansion can bring new athletic profiles to the NFL. Soccer players might become kickers and punters. Rugby players might excel at running back or linebacker. Basketball players might transition to tight end or safety. Football's beauty lies in its complexity. 11 players per side with distinct roles working in perfect harmony. Each position requires unique skills, physical attributes, and mental processing abilities. The 350-pound nose tackle and the 180-pound slot corner might play the same sport, but they're essentially competing in different athletic events. Understanding these positions doesn't just enhance your appreciation of the game, it reveals the chess match happening beneath the surface. Every snap involves 22 players executing their assignments while trying to disrupt their opponent's plans. Next time you watch a game, try focusing on a single position. Watch how the left tackle sets up against the speed rusher. Notice how the free safety adjusts his alignment based on formation. Observe how the slot receiver creates separation with subtle movements. Football isn't just a game of physical dominance. It's a complex system where each position plays a vital role in the larger machine. From the quarterback who touches the ball on every play to the long snapper who's invisible until something goes wrong, every position matters. The game has evolved dramatically since its inception, and it'll continue to change. New positions will emerge, existing roles will adapt, and the chess match will become even more complex. But the fundamental truth remains the same. Football is a team sport where individual excellence must serve the collective goal. Whether you're watching a quarterback thread a pass between two defenders, a linebacker diagnose a play and make a tackle, or a kicker split the uprights from 55 yards, you're witnessing the culmination of years of training, preparation, and specialization. That's the beauty of football positions. They represent the perfect marriage of individual skill and team concept, and that's what makes this game America's most fascinating sport. If you enjoyed this breakdown of NFL positions, make sure to like and hype this video and subscribe to Extra Point Explanation for more deep dives into football's most interesting topics. Thanks for watching.